Hello, my name's Gary. This is episode 38 of EV Musings, a podcast about electric vehicles and things that are interesting to electric vehicle owners. On today's show, we're looking at newbie questions again in our ongoing series, and we're asking how much does it cost to charge my car? Simon's away again this week, it's just me. He mentioned something about navel gazing and walked out with his head held high. I don't know. Our feature topic today continues on our mini-series of pods for EV newbies, and today we're asking, how much does it cost to charge my EV? It's a natural enough question when looking at getting an electric car. Everyone says they're cheaper than ICE cars, so naturally you want to find out how much it's going to cost you. Before we go into detail on EV charge costs, I want to start with a fossil fuel analogy. Prices for fossil fuels vary all over the country and are different depending on whether you're at a discounter like Tesco, a motorway service area like Toddington or Leicester Forest East, or the infamous Watford Gap, or using some higher octane fuels such as Shell Optimax or the BP equivalent. Putting 20 gallons in a fossil fuel in an internal combustion engine car can cost anything between £107 and £144. That's a £37 difference for the same product. Although in reality it isn't the same product because this includes some of the higher octane super unleaded fuel, which is more expensive anyway. And this is because fuel can range in price from about £1.18 a litre to £1.59 a litre for super unleaded, and these prices are correct at the end of February 2020. Thus, it is the same for electricity. The difference is that the price range can be even more radical. There are basically three scenarios for how much you pay for electricity for your EV. The first one is the price you pay if you're charging at home. The second is the price you pay if you're charging with a subscription. And the third is the price you pay if you're charging at full price. We've already done a full episode covering the price differential for charging, which is episode 15, but I'll summarise it here. Due to the various pricing models used by the various charging companies, to fill an iPace with 50 kilowatt hours of charge, the driver could today pay nothing, £7.50, £8, £10, £12.50, £15, £17.50, £18, £20, even higher if you're on Ionity, or £17.50 plus a time charge depending on where the driver charges, which supplier is used, how much he pays, and what speed the charger works at. So it's not quite straightforward. So let's look at the three scenarios we listed above. Number one, charging at home. With one of the EV-only tariffs that different companies provide, charging at home is incredibly cheap, more so if you've got solar panels. For example, with Octopus Go, I can fill my Soul from completely empty to completely full for £1.50. With Agile Octopus and a windy night, such as those we experienced here in the UK recently due to Storm Dennis, Octopus will actually pay you to charge. And you can't get much cheaper than that. By the way, if you're looking to move to Octopus, there's a link to my referral code in the show notes. Mention that when you join, and both you and I will get £50 credited to our accounts when you make the move. Number two, charging with a subscription. There are several charging models which allow a subscription format to be used. The most famous in the UK is Polar Plus. In the US, there are things such as the EVgo monthly membership subscription service, and they work on the basis that you pay a fixed amount per month, and that allows you to charge for a reduced rate per kilowatt hour. I pay £7.99 subscription for Polar Plus, and I can fill my 30 kilowatt hour Soul from completely empty to completely full for £4.50 on a 50 kilowatt hour Polar charger. It looks a lot when compared with home charging, but the difference is that this is generally at a rapid charge, and as we discussed in last week's episode, rapid chargers are expensive to install and expensive to use. Many car companies offer subscription services to allow you to charge their EVs. In particular, the automotive companies behind the Ionity network offer subscription-based charging services to allow you to charge at much less than the 66 pence per kilowatt hour that they now levy for ad hoc charging in the UK. And number three, charging at full price. This is obviously the most expensive method of charging. For a contactless payment for 30 kilowatt hours of charge from a BP ChargeMaster 150 kilowatt charger, I would pay £12. The same charge on an Ingenie or Instavolt 50 kilowatt charger would cost £10.80. if I was using an Ionity 350 kilowatt charger on my Kia Soul, which obviously I can't because Ionity is CCS only and my Kia is a CHAdeMO connector, I would be charged £19.80 to fill the car from completely empty to completely full. So we've gone from £1.50 to £19.50 to put the same electrons into the same battery from different suppliers. The moral of the story is that public charging is more expensive than home charging, sometimes considerably more so. If you have home charging, then obviously using this to charge your EV makes complete sense. If, like Simon, you don't have home charging, then some sort of public charging would be appropriate. If you work for a forward-looking company that supplies workplace charging, you can have fast chargers installed there, which charge during the workday at, 7 kilowatts, and cost a minimal amount to you. Or could even be free if your employer is quite generous. If you have to use public charging, then you can expect the rates to vary according to the speed of charge, the company providing the charge, and the method of payment. It's also worth mentioning at this point that there are certain providers that will allow you to charge your car for free. PodPoint are an example of this. Their business model is to make money from the companies who benefit from EVs charging at their site and allow the actual charging to be free. They're also looking at using charging posts as advertising to keep costs down. Simon and I met up recently at a Costa in Maidenhead, and in their car park they had free PodPoint chargers. We plugged in, chatted for a while over a latte, and then left. Costa made money on our visit, and this was helped by the fact that we only visited that location because it had the PodPoint chargers. Without those chargers, we wouldn't have visited, and they would have made less money. It's time for a cool EV or renewable thing to share with you listeners. Polestar, the EV brand offshoot of Volvo, we're going to unveil a new EV concept car called the Precept at the cancelled Geneva Motor Show. It's now been released online and it looks very nice. It's been pushed as incredibly eco-friendly, having been made from recycled items such as cork and plastic bottles. It's a 4-door sedan style with what looks to be acres of room inside. It uses a range of sustainable materials that offer improvements in both weight and waste. They include flax-based composites for panelling and seat backs, seat surfaces 3D knitted from recycled PET bottles, bolsters and headrests made from recycled cork, and carpets made from reclaimed fishing nets. Very impressive. It follows the trend of having cameras instead of rear-view mirrors, and it has sports radar, LiDAR and eye-tracking technology. Like the Polestar models currently being prepped for production, it has an operating system based on Android, which is both good and bad, and the eye-tracking technology allows it to decide which information needs to be displayed to the driver at what time, although how that will work in reality is open to interpretation. No word on battery size, range or price, but that's the nature of a concept vehicle. I'll keep an eye on this with interest. And that's our show for today. Hope you enjoyed listening to it. If you want to contact us, I'm The Real Gary C on Twitter, or use the EV Musings Twitter account, MusingsEV. If you're wanting a quick reference ebook to read on your Kindle, I wrote a little something called So You've Gone Electric. It's available on Amazon worldwide for the measly sum of 99p or equivalent, and it's a great little introduction to living with an electric car. Links for everything we've talked about in the podcast today are in the description. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe. It's available on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Please leave a review as it helps raise our visibility and extend our reach in search engines. Thanks, as always, to the co-founder of this podcast, Simon Rowe. I asked him what price his eternal salvation, and he said, I can fill my soul from completely empty to completely full for £1.50. Thanks for listening. Bye.